Hello, and welcome to Boneheaded Sports episode 21. This this episode we're just going to be recapping and I'm going to be sharing my thoughts for the week 1. Week 1's now over. Great weekend of football. I got to sit down all Sunday and watch all of the game, well most of the games. Some of them I didn't have on. Um but I was able to watch all the football this weekend or most of the football this weekend, and this weekend was good. I missed football. I hope you guys got to watch some football. And before we get started, how are you guys doing? I hope you're having a good day, a good night, good morning, wherever, whenever you're listening. And I'm doing good. I got a test today for later at school that I've been studying for, so wish me luck for that. And make sure to subscribe on the YouTube or on Spotify, iTunes, on TikTok, Twitter, and let's get into it. So we're gonna start with Thursday night, Bills at Rams. I'm a Bills fan, and I didn't get to watch the first half of this game, but I got to watch the second half because I was at school. But Bills absolutely or not phenomenal. There were some things I liked, some things that I didn't like, but the Bills won 31 to 10. Um, the Bills offense and their defense looked incredible, looked so amazing. Von Miller is finally bringing that defensive line to where they want it to be. They've invested so much on D line, and now that you got that all star caliber talent in Von Miller, it just unlocked everybody else. Like Jordan Phillips had 2 sacks, Greg Rousseau had a sack, Boogie Basham had a sack and an interception. Von Miller had 2 sacks himself, and it was just great. Masterclass. Other than turnovers, one of the interceptions wasn't Josh Allen's fault. The one where the DB just took the ball from Isaiah McKenzie, really just outmuscled him. But other than that, the Bills played a really good game. The Rams didn't score a point in the second half. They're looking not as good as they were last year. Their defense is looking suspect, and their offensive line is definitely seeing the hit of Andrew Whitworth being gone. Um, Cooper Kupp is basically the Allen Robinson only had 2 catches for 12 yards, so he was getting open. Just Matthew Stafford didn't get it to him, and he had 3 interceptions himself. I would say they're all his fault. Some people say the one that was tipped wasn't his fault, but if you just he threw it a little high, so it wasn't like on the chest, so the receiver had to go up and get it, and it got tipped and then intercepted. But overall, I'm really worried about the Rams, but it is only week 1, not overreacting, but I'm gonna let's keep up with the Rams. See how next week goes against the Falcons if they can bounce back. The Bills look like world beaters, like we all expected them to be, and I'm happy. It's great to see Bills succeeding in the NFL, and yeah. So that's my thoughts on the Thursday night game. These are just gonna be quick overall recaps. I'm not going super in depth. I don't have that long of time. I have to go to school soon, so fitting this in where I can. So Saints Falcons. Um, to start, the Falcons blew another lead. They were up by 16 in the fourth quarter, and they ended up losing 27 to 26. So for the first 3 quarters, the Saints weren't doing it much. Jameis Winston was not really doing that well. But come fourth quarter, he started playing well. Michael Thomas caught 2 touchdown passes and a 2-point conversion, and it just started kind of clicking. I'm really waiting to see what they look like next week against the Bucks. Ever since Tom Brady got there, they kind of own the Bucks, so I hope they win. I predicted them to win, but we'll see what they look like next season. The Falcons, to me, though, were honestly really surprising. Marcus Mariota played good. Cordero Patterson had like 120 rushing yards. Um, Drake London looked impressive, made some good catches. Their defense looked a little better than what I thought it would be. Casey Hayward has definitely made an impact until he went out. And yeah, the Falcons look a lot better than I thought they would. At least week one, Marcus Mariota played well, had a lot of rushing yards, had some like 200 and something passing yards. I wish they got Kyle Pitts more involved for my fantasy team. He got me like 5 points, three to 5 points somewhere around there. Not a lot of fantasy points, but the Falcons they probably should have won this game, but they ended up choking because it doesn't seem to matter who the quarterback, who the coach is. They're Falcons gonna Falcon, and that's really all that is. Also, Jarvis Landry had a really good game. 7 receptions for 114 yards. Had that catch at the end of the fourth quarter that set him up for the game-winning field goal. Absolutely balled out. He's still really good. He's still good, and he's there to prove. He's here proving it that he's really good. So look out for the Saints, man. As the season goes on, I think they're gonna be scary. Um, on to the next game, Bears 49ers. Um, I didn't watch this game. It wasn't really that. I had it on for a little bit. Wasn't really that interested in it. A slop fest. It was a monsoon, basically. Water everywhere, puddles. Soldier Field was not in good condition. The sidelines weren't even straight. Um, but congrats for the Bears on getting the win. Justin Fields looked really good. Trey Lance did not. Um, he didn't really impress me at all, or of what I've seen of that game. I expected the 49ers defense to be a lot more impactful against the Bears offensive line. Like I expected Nick Bosa to have a lot more pressure and their whole D line to have a lot more pressure. And I expected Trey Lance and their offense to score more than 10 points against this Bears defense. Trey Lance had an interception that was not that good. Um, and it just really surprised me. I thought the 49ers were the surefire lock in this game and got proved wrong. I got proved wrong. So congrats for Bears fans. Congrats for Justin Fields for getting a dub. I'm sure everyone, all the Bears fans are like, they thought I wasn't going to be good anymore. I don't think they should have won. If it was, give me normal conditions and we'll see how the game goes. And yeah, because really monsoon rain games, in my opinion, don't really show who you are. They just shows who gets lucky per se. Um, because it definitely is a lot different than a normal game if it's not like the field is literally not covered in water and like you're walking in puddles the whole time. But I don't really want to talk too much about that game. Not really much left to say. The next one, the Steelers Bengals game. I had this game on, I the whole time. Um, the Steelers. First off, let's start with the Bengals. We'll start with the Bengals. Joe Burrow and that offensive line. Joe Burrow was not good. Um, Not necessarily all of his fault, but he did throw 4 interceptions, had a fumble, so he had 5 turnovers. So not a good day for him. Not a good start to the season. But their offensive line doesn't look any better than it did last season. I know it's only the first week, and we were saying that about the Chiefs' offensive line last year, and then like around the middle of the season, they finally gelled together, and it looked like amazing. But this Bengals offensive, he got sacked, I think, 7 times, and for Joe Burrow, it's just a reoccurring theme. It seems like for him to be sacked at least 5 times a game with his offensive line, which is not what you want for like a good quarterback. Their offense, Jamar Chase still played okay. Joe Mixon played really well. But what it really came down to was the Steelers' defense. A pick six, four interceptions. Minka Fitzpatrick had a pick six, blocked a kick, um, and and Mitchell Trubisky was a game manager. He didn't turn. He looked he looked okay. No interceptions, a 78.2 quarterback rating, a touchdown. Not really much. Like that's like what you expected of Mitchell Trubisky. Like you didn't expect him to go out here throw 350 yards, four touchdowns, no picks. Like, but one thing about the Steelers is that their offense looks really bad. Like they, other than like the only reason they were in this game was because of the turnovers. Their offense could not move the ball. Um, real other than if they didn't have that Deontay Johnson touchdown or not touchdown, that Deontay Johnson catch in overtime that was absolutely incredible to set up the game-winning field goal, we wouldn't be here. It would have been a tie, or the Bengals would have won. And they missed. Evan McPherson missed a couple kicks. Chris Boswell missed a couple kicks. It was just crazy. The Bengals probably should have won this game pretty easily, but they just came out rusty. And apparently the Super Bowl loss hangover is showing, at least for right now. And I don't like. I know it's week one again, but their offensive line looked really bad. Their defense looked okay, and the Steelers were predicted to be really bad this year, and you lost to them. Like they gotta come back next week and prove that they're still this really good team, or people gonna start being like, "Oh, it was a fluke," and writing them off. Um, but I guess yay Steelers fans, congrats on the win. Um, you're 1-0. I thought you were gonna be 0-1, so good for you. Bengals fans, it's just week one. It'll hopefully get better from here. The Bills lost to the Steelers last season, week one, and I that stung still. So or for a little bit, but it is what it is. It happens. It's the NFL. Um, I mean, hell, the Seahawks beat the Broncos, so anything can happen on any given Sunday, even though they didn't play on Sunday. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. But next, Eagles Lions. Going into halftime, it looked like this was gonna be a wash. The Eagles scored 24 points in one quarter, but the Lions never really went away. They stayed in the game. Jared Goff looked good, or like pretty okay. DeAndre Swift, 15 carries, 144 yards, absolutely amazing. AJ Brown played phenomenal. Jalen Hurts played really well. I, Devontae Smith played okay. Um, he didn't even. Oh, Devontae Smith didn't even have a catch. But really a lot closer than I thought it would be. The Lions impressed me. I've been high on the Lions all off season, so I thought this was gonna be a close game. I didn't pick the Lions to win, but I thought they were gonna at least keep it competitive, which they did. They At the end of the game, there was definitely a possibility that they could steal this game away from the Eagles. Um, Sadly, that did not happen, and my Lions agenda didn't come to fruition. But I'm excited for what the Lions have in store. I think they're gonna beat. I think they play the Commanders next week, so I think they're gonna beat the Commanders next week. Bounce back, and I'm really excited to see what they have in store for the rest of the season. I love Dan Campbell. But the Eagles are their offense was good. Their defense letting up 35 points to the Lions offense. Their rush defense looked not good. Um, I just say they gotta clean it. They gotta step up on defense a little bit more, and their offense it looks set. So I'm not too worried about that. It's just Their defense needs to be a little bit better, and I think that they could make a run in the playoffs. Or if they keep playing this well, they can definitely make some noise. So on to the next game, Patriots Dolphins. I didn't really watch this game. It looked really boring. The Dolphins won 20-7. Mac Jones broke his back, not broke his back, but he got a back injury. Um, all I saw from this game was that the Patriots did not look good. I heard that they did not play like a like a Bill Belichick coach team. Penalties, missed assignments, you name it, they probably did it. From a strip sack for a touchdown. But the Dolphins, they looked what I saw okay. Like if Tua played a better game, they probably could have won by like 30. Um, I saw this one play where Tua, like Tyreek Hill was wide open on the right side. Tua clean pocket, threw it and underthrew him by like 10 yards. Um, I've never been high on Tua. I think that he's gonna be about that all season, where they can win. He's gonna be a quarterback you win with, not you win because of. Um, and I I don't know what to say about the Patriots. They just don't have a lot of talent. They don't have talent anywhere. Like Mac Jones has like no one to throw to, and their offense looked really bad. Like had a good opening touchdown drive. They scored, and then that's it. That's really all that happened for the Patriots all game. Um, they play the Steelers next week. Maybe they'll bounce back, but I'm all here for the downfall of the Patriots as a Bills fan. So I'm all here for it. And I'm going to move on. We're just going to go right through Ravens, Jets. Joe Flacco, why'd you make him throw 60 times? Um, Lamar looked Lamar looked good. He had one interception, but other than that was really good. Kenyon Drake was okay. Their rushing attack wasn't really their offense wasn't really amazing. But they got it. They were better than the Jets, which is all they needed. Um, I thought this game was gonna be closer. Honestly, I was like maybe Joe Flacco revenge tour. But we all expected the Ravens to beat the Jets. They did it 24-9. So congrats Ravens. Um, on to the Jaguars Commanders. Really interesting game. Jaguars seemed to just keep finding ways to mess up. Um, they probably should have won this game. Travis Etienne dropped two touchdown passes. One was a little contested. One he was just wide open, free touchdown, and he just dropped the pass. And I remember sitting there with my buddy Isaac, who's a Jaguars fan, and I was just like, damn, man, I'm sorry, because it was a wide open touchdown, and if they hit that touchdown, they probably win the game. Um, and after the second half, or in the fourth quarter, you were like, oh, the Jaguars are gonna win this game. They're really taking command of it, and then Carson Wentz just comes out and throws a 67-yard touchdown to Terry McLaurin, or no, it was something. It was a really long pass to Terry McLaurin, and yeah, like they just tie up the game and then they go down, score another touchdown, and out of nowhere, the Commanders are like, "Oh, we're gonna win now." Really, really upsetting for the Jaguars. I really wanted them to win. Um, I want Trevor Lawrence to win, and I don't know. Like Christian Kirk played a lot better than I thought he would. 6 receptions, 100. Like their offense was moving, but I want them to use their running backs more. They have two really good running backs, and I feel like they don't use that. They didn't use them enough. They tried too hard to get the pass game going when the running game was working, at least in my opinion. I'm not a coach. What do I know? But I think they should have ran more. They probably would have had a better chance if they kept running the ball. And Yeah, it was, Commanders at Jacksonville. Commanders 28-22 over Jacksonville. Um, Now the Browns Panthers game. I would just want to start by saying the Panthers should have won. That the refs were on the Browns side there. I don't even know how you can say otherwise. That should have been intentional grounding. They should have lost right there. But instead, the refs are like, we don't know the rule, so we'll just say it's not a penalty, and then they kick a 58-yard field goal and win the game. Like, the Panthers had all of the momentum in the second half. Baker didn't play good in the first half, but he definitely did play good in the second half. And they came out, took the lead, and then got screwed over by some penalties, and it really upset me because I really wanted Baker to beat his former team because I feel like if you're gonna get rid of him to replace him with what kind of person Deshaun Watson is, um, that I don't want the Browns to succeed with what they have done this past offseason. I think everyone kind of sees the Browns like that except for Browns fans. Um, I want to see Deshaun Watson get his fucking knee blown out. He should have been at least suspended all year, if not indefinitely from the NFL. Um, but the NFL doesn't seem to care about sexual assault like they should, but I'm not gonna go into that because it's like beating a dead horse at this point. But also, Kareem Hunt stole like 2 touchdowns from Nick Chubb on my fantasy team, and I was really upset about that. Colts Texans, they tied. We got a tie week one. So the Colts break their losing streak of week one losses. Technically speaking, but it looked like the Texans were gonna run away with this game going into the fourth or late third, early fourth quarter. They were up 20-3, and it seemed like in the fourth quarter they just forgot how to play football. But Davis Mills looked really good. Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor looked good. Matt Ryan looked okay. They had him throw like 50 times or whatever. I don't know why Damian Pierce wasn't getting the RB1 share. They decided to have Rex Burkhead out there for some reason. Like, give the rookie a shot to prove himself. I think he's a lot more talented than Rex Burkhead is at his current stance in his career. Um, it's just the AFC South is so poverty. I don't know who's gonna represent this division in the playoffs. Um, and whoever it is probably a first round exit, most likely. But there's still a lot of season left, but not a good way to start if you're a Tech or if you're a Colts fan. You expected a lot more of this team, and the Frank Reich regime has been really weird up to this point. They haven't won a week one game in his tenure. Had 5 different starting quarterbacks. Really, really hard to change quarterbacks every season, and I guess that's the reason why they haven't won a week one game is direct correlation with changing quarterbacks every year because you got to get into that game rhythm every single year. Now on to the upset of the day for me. The Giants beat the Titans 21-0. And first off, I just want to say thank you Saquon for being on my fantasy team. He went off, looked like rookie year Saquon, had explosive runs, catches, all of it. He played good in every single aspect of the day. Every single aspect of the offense he was asked to perform in, he looked good. And I'm all here for it. I love Saquon. Um, I'm glad that he's looking really good again, not just for my fantasy team, but for Giants fans because they need something to hope for. And honestly, they probably should have lost this game, but they went down, got a touchdown, were down by one, and I was like, why not go for two? Like, what do you got to lose? They go for it, they make it, and they take the lead but the Titans march down and are in like a reasonably distanced field goal range, but they just miss. Like they should have had that field. They probably could have most likely made that field goal. They ended up missing it, and the Giants. Hey, credit to the Giants. They won. Their defense looked good. The Titans' offense did not look good. Derrick Henry looked not as explosive as he's been in the past. Maybe he's still working his way up to like 100%. But there was this one hit where he got absolutely rocked from the side, and it was like, oh, that's what getting hit by Derrick Henry feels like, and Derrick Henry got to experience that. But they definitely are missing A.J. Brown, and their offense just looks lackluster and not really. It's hard. It looks like their offense is not good. It's just going to be hard for them to score points because usually their game plan is get up early and then just pound the rock with Derrick Henry. But how are you going to get up early if you don't have the receivers to do that? And Ryan Tannehill is Ryan Tannehill. Like he's okay at best. On to the Packers Vikings. I picked the Vikings to win this like a long time ago. Um, I saw a lot of people predicting the Packers to win, and I'm like, the Packers just aren't gonna be good. They're gonna be good, but they're not gonna be as good as the Vikings, at least in my opinion. And that showed that Justin Jefferson absolutely torched them all game, like at least the first half, because they didn't need to pass the ball a lot in the second half because they were just chewing clock the rest of the game. But if the Packers are gonna look, their offense is gonna look like this all season, they're definitely in trouble. Um, their receivers did not look good at all. Um, and I mean, they had a 70. Aaron Rodgers threw a perfect pass to Christian Watson. I think that's his name. Perfect pass. If he caught it, it would have been a touchdown. He dropped it. Wasn't a touchdown. That's it. If that he makes that catch, it's probably a closer game. Um, but credit to the Vikings. Credit to Kevin O'Connell. Look, play calls offensively were amazing. Their defense looked good, and Vikings agenda starts today. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson MVP season starts now. He had 9 receptions, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. Absolute clinic of a game. And let's see how the Vikings fare the rest of the season. But for the Packers, they've got to get those receivers have got to get it down. They got to, or it's going to be a long season for a Packers fan. Long season. Um, Aaron Rodgers looks frustrated already. Um, that 50 mil really feeling good right now when you have no receivers to throw to. Anyway, the Chiefs, Cardinals, not really much to say. Patrick Mahomes masterclass, 30 for 39, 365 touchdowns. Absolutely demolished the Cardinals. I actually predicted the Cardinals to win because they usually start hot, but boy was I wrong. The Cardinals defense looked absolutely awful. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs didn't miss a beat without Tyreek Hill. Some are starting to say that they look better without Tyreek Hill. It's not so one-dimensional. Um, and I don't like to see the Chiefs this good because it scares me as a Bills fan because I know we're probably going to run into them in the playoffs again. But still plenty of season left, and my prediction for the Chiefs going 9-8 looks really sour right now. But there's not really much left to talk about in that game. It wasn't really close at all. It really wasn't close until it wasn't close at all, but it really wasn't close until the fourth quarter. Um, where the Chargers or the Cardinals going down into the fourth quarter were down like 37-7, and the final score was 44-21. So they didn't get to 21 until like the fourth quarter, and by then it was way over. But anyway, on to the Chargers Raiders. It was oddly weird. Um, it was a lot not closer, but low scoring. I didn't expect it to be this low scoring. Um, the Raiders' offensive line looked really bad, and it looks like that's what's gonna hold them back this season. But for the Chargers, without Keenan Allen hurt his hamstring, and without him, I don't know how good their wide receiving core is. Like after he went down, they didn't really move the ball. They just like slowed the Raiders down enough to where they can hold on to the lead because they didn't score any points in the fourth quarter. And we'll see Thursday what their offense looks like for the rest of this the while Keenan Allen's out, but I don't know. Maybe I hope I don't I hope they bounce back because I want the Chargers to not Charger a season again where they are supposed to be really good and then just end up don't doing well. But Derek Carr looked okay, had some missed throws. Devontae Adams looked good. Darren Waller was okay. Josh Jacobs was okay. But overall, really low, not as high scoring as I expected it to be. And I predicted the Raiders to win, so I got that wrong. But Buccaneers, Cowboys, not much to say. One touchdown scored the entire game. Leonard Fournette went off. Julio Jones somehow was open on every single play, and Dak Prescott got hurt. The Cowboys' offense looks incredibly stripped and deprived of talent. It's really only CeeDee Lamb, and if you only need to stop one guy, how is the rest of the offense gonna work? So, really, really worried about the Cowboys season. I didn't think they were gonna be super good anyway, but that was with Dak Prescott, and now that they don't have Dak Prescott for probably at least 4 to 6 weeks, um, it's gonna be rough watching Cooper Rush for the rest of or for that time, and they could possibly start really badly, and it might just be another wasted year of the Cowboys. And Micah Parsons seems like the only good player on that team. Now on to last night's game, the last game of the week. The Seattle Seahawks defeated the Denver Broncos 17 to 16. The Broncos only scored 3 points in the second half. The Seahawks scored no points in the second half and still won. Geno Smith looked really good. Russell Wilson looked good. Um, Jerry Jeudy was good. But what really worries me about this Broncos team is one, their defense doesn't look as good as advertised, and two, Nathaniel Hackett, their new head coach, his decision making seems to be really lacking in terms of what you should do. At the end of the game, it was 4th and 5 around the 50-yard line. It was around like the 40, between the 40 and 50-yard line, and you had 20 seconds. Well, first of all, you had 50 seconds left. Didn't call a timeout until 20 seconds. So first problem is clock management right there. Second problem is it's 4th and 5. It'd be a 64-yard field goal, or you still have a timeout, so you might as well. You have Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. No, not Noah Fan anymore. My bad. Javante. You do you go for the 4th and 5 at 50 seconds, so you still have time if you make it, which he decided to wait till about 20 seconds to kick the field goal. But do you go and make the field goal easier for your kicker, or do you just wait, chew down the clock, and attempt a 64-yarder? And this man decided to kick a 64-yarder. For some reason, that is what his brain thought was a good idea, and the world let him know that that was not a good decision. And the Seahawks, got to give them credit. They played well. Their defense played really good. Their Geno Smith played well. Rashad Penny had a decently good game. And they just looked a lot better than I thought they would. And good for the Seahawks. First in their division. Everyone else lost. And I never thought I would say at any point this season that the Seahawks were first in the division. That's really shocking to me. The Denver Broncos really fumbled here. Really poor performance by them. Had way more talent than the Seahawks, but the Seahawks looked more disciplined, better head coaching, and were more prepared. And that's about it. So that's going to do it all for this episode. Thank you for coming out, listening, watching, wherever you're doing it. And make sure to share this with your friends and your family if you like it. I'm trying to get more, just want more people to listen. Make sure to follow on or subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, Twitter. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, and make sure you have a good day. Make sure the rest of your day is good, and peace out.